Hi guys.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Well, today is Sunday, April 5th, and today is a special day because at 9 p.m., everybody's going to go outside in their balconies and light the candles, diyas.
So first of all, welcome to another Facebook Live on anything. Probably going to talk a lot more about coronavirus because that's the hot topic today.
Yeah.
I think today is day number 11?
I think 12 of
12. Day 12. Day 12 of 21 of the lockdown. We started the lockdown almost 12 days ago, and things were a lot different then, and they're a lot different now. The world has the number of cases in the world, and everything has also changed and since then. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask us. People are going to start joining in, and
yes. And I think since the last time actually when we came live, Samir, the cases have gone up in India tremendously. If we look at the data, I think we were around 1100 cases.
Yeah, so I actually took it down. I think the last Facebook live we did was on the 30th of March, and on that day we had 1200 odd cases, 1250 odd cases, and today we are at 3600 cases. So in a span of 5 days, our number of cases has gone up almost 5x, 3x.
Yeah. By 3 times, in fact.
3 times.
US is it's almost double. From 160,000 cases, it's all gone to more than 300,000 cases. And the world is right now at 1.2 million.
Yeah, so I think the world cases on Tuesday when we came live were 780,000 cases. And that number is now increased to almost 1.2 million cases. So I think that there has been quite a jump, even in India, in spite of the lockdown. But I think even though the numbers have increased, this number would have been much higher were we not on lockdown.
Oh, absolutely. And, examples of what has happened, in Delhi, or what has happened in Dharavi in Mumbai, where the cases are now starting to come up. This shows how clusters can develop. And I think what has happened in Delhi is one of the biggest examples. Of a cluster. Of course, the numbers are still going to go up because they're going to be testing 2,300 more people in Delhi that are linked with the Nizamuddin episode that happened. So, with that, the cases will go up. But I think this is an example for everyone to understand why is the lockdown important. We're reaching that point where people are getting more and more tired of sitting at home, which is understandable. But again, it is these numbers that point towards the fact that why a lockdown is absolutely important.
I think it's fantastic that we're on lockdown. I think this 3,500 had a potential of being 35,000 were we not on lockdown.
Absolutely.
So, I fully support, and I hope everyone is practicing social distancing. I hope everyone is safe at home. Everyone is spending time with their family and loved ones. When you're home, enjoy the time of togetherness. I got a WhatsApp message this morning, and I was telling her, and I was telling my parents also and family that it said that it's at the end of 21 days, of lockdown, you should have either become more healthy, you should have had more skill, gained a skill, or maybe developed a hobby, right?
So most of us, but I think what happens is when people are bored, actually these things don't work out.
Yeah.
I think when you're actually super busy, then you have more time. But another interesting thing that's coming out in the world, I think something to talk about is about the value of masks.
Yeah.
So now there's more data that has come out. In fact, the CDC has already recommended people that they can use, homemade masks, and that is they're simple masks made at home. Even India, the principal scientific advisory, actually on Tuesday, later on in the evening, took out guidelines on how you can, and the very, very helpful guidelines on how you can actually make masks at home and use them, especially in a densely populated place like India, Samir. I think it's, especially when we go out grocery shopping. So how can it help us? Just a quick thing. Why masks might be a good idea, and homemade masks. The N95, again, we leave it for the healthcare workers because they're in close contact with actual sick people. But let us suppose somebody is asymptomatic or has very mild symptoms and they're going out to buy groceries. Wearing the mask will provide protection, from 50 to 70%, of infecting others. And that protection is a fair amount, and especially like a densely populated country like
Yeah, so
India.
actually consider wearing masks when you go out.
Yeah.
It's not going to harm, it's probably going to help.
Exactly.
We actually have a lot of questions that
Sure.
started coming in.
Yeah.
We have a question over here from Rajiv Jain. Is it true that the pandemic can last up to 2 years? That's
So in the past, yes, we have had pandemics where they've spanned, I think, sometimes for over like 18 months. But of course, the curve does start flattening. So it won't be like the curve is going to be peaking for the next 2 years. But yes, maybe for the numbers to completely go down. In fact, I was reading somewhere, Samir, that, this might become something like the flu eventually. The COVID-19 infection might become something like the flu, that it might be around for a while. So let's hope it doesn't stay for 2 years. This pandemic at least. I mean, I hope in the next few months the infection rates start going down and it doesn't become that frequent. And of course, we find better medications that help actually treat it.
Yeah, so I think that's interesting that I don't think it'll last exactly for 2 years. It might become a chronic illness. You have the flu vaccine, you take the COVID-19 vaccine, which is actually may or may not be mixed in the flu vaccine. You should take the flu vaccine every year. In most countries across the world, even we as healthcare providers do take our flu vaccines every year, and we actually make sure that our parents also take it and our family members also take it. So that's something important to remember. Meher Gupta has asked us a question regarding this. When do you think this pandemic will end?
Well, I think that's what we just said. I think it's going to take at least a few more months. Some people are saying at least in September or October. That's what the data is showing. But at this point, we don't know. We know for a fact the vaccine will definitely take at least another year to come out. Because when they do the testing, when it's approved, by the time it's made in the required numbers, at least 12 to 18 months is an average. And
is what's going to take.
It's going to take.
I think somebody has asked us this question. Do you have a message for the anti-vaccine crowd out there? Arpit, that is what everybody's talking about. One of the biggest healthcare discoveries of modern medicine, there has been one thing which has really, really stood out and has saved innumerable number of lives, and that simple thing is vaccinations. Okay, vaccinations have saved millions of lives. And I think it was Edward Jenner, when he saw the milkmaids see that they had the cowpox, right? He saw that the cowpox was not that women or children who were playing with the cows never got the smallpox, because they were exposed to a milder version of the disease, which was called cowpox. So it dates back to 1800s when this was discovered, and over the years millions of lives have been changed, have been saved. We've been able to change a lot of things in medicine itself just by the small thing of vaccinations.
That's a very interesting story, and again, in simple terms, it builds your immunity, and taking this point of antibodies, so they are actually now looking at studies where they're taking actually plasma antibodies from people who have recovered from the COVID-19 infection, and they are, injecting that plasma into people who are severely sick, and they're seeing that within 3-4 days they're seeing a positive response. That is, I think, that's giving a lot of hope, especially for people who are on ventilators and who are in a very bad shape, who are critically ill. So I think
that is very promising.
Yeah.
Actually, this concept of taking antibodies from people who have the infection, and then packaging it and giving it back to sick people is what we do for a lot of diseases, right? We've done this in the past, we still do it, and let us hope, this is actually an experimental therapy right now for COVID, and it's not mainstream, and let us hope that this works out and maybe lives can be saved.
Absolutely. So should we take the next question?
Yeah. So
on day 7.
Kalpana Gupta has asked us a question, which is on day 7 of fever, what tests can be done?
So there are actually right now we have a number of tests that have come out.
Yeah.
In fact, I think 3. So there's a rapid antibody test that is available. Then we have the PCR test that's been already there for a while, and then we have the neutralizing, nucleic acid testing test, NAT testing. And the antibody test is actually useful only after day 7 or day 8, once the antibodies are made.
Yeah.
So it can actually just help detect people who have had the infection.
Yeah.
So it doesn't come positive early on. For early on symptoms, of course, people would need to still get the NAT test or the PCR testing. And now if somebody is having fever for continuously 7 days, it becomes a concern just in general. It may or may not be the COVID. It could be anything. But then it's a concern that you need to actually go to your doctor and get yourself tested out that why are you having fever, for the past 7 days. So if somebody is actually sick for that long, please go to your doctor, and get help and get the right medications on board, because apart from the COVID infection, there are a lot more other causes of being sick that need to be treated in time.
Yeah. So basically, I think the antibody test is going to come positive after 8 to 9 days when your body has developed antibodies, which are the fighter cells against COVID. That is when it becomes positive. For the first 7-8 days, you may or may not have symptoms, and if you are concerned, then you will need the PCR test or the NAT test. Basically, that's what it is, right?
Right.
Yeah. There have been a lot of more questions. A lot of people are joining in. Rashi Pengoria has asked.
I have to go from, I think, below to above.
Oh, you have to go from below from up.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Meher has asked us a question. What do we do now? Wear a mask or not? We are very confused with the news. I think it's important that so there has been a lot of confusion in the past about masks. They were primarily recommended initially for healthcare providers, for people who are at the front lines, for sick people, and for people who are dealing with sick people. But now there's been a lot of research which has gone on, a lot of talks have happened, and the guidelines have kind of changed, and which we also kind of agree with, that most people should try and wear a mask if you're going outside, if you're going to a public place. Now this need not be the N95 mask or the fancy surgical mask. This can be a simple cloth mask which you make at home. These are masks which are very easily made. We've made it in our house also. You can wear, if nothing else, and if you have a handkerchief, there are ways and means to make use a handkerchief. And use it. We have made some of these slides, and some of this information is going to be coming on our webpage and on our Facebook page and on our Instagram page. So please like us, subscribe. Voiceofhealth.in, that's our website. Voiceofhealth.in is also our Facebook page and our Instagram page, and you will have a lot of more health updates over there. We started a COVID ticker, so you'll get to see about that too.
Yeah.
But the question regarding the thing was that yes, absolutely, you should wear a mask if you go out, and if you're dealing with sick people or you're a healthcare provider, then you have to wear a mask. Definitely, for sure, healthcare providers should preferably wear an N95 mask.
And I think just again, it's a request, please leave the N95s for the healthcare providers. And I think we're being very blunt about it, but the fact of the matter is that as a regular population going out, you do not need the N95. That's basically for people who are super sick, and that's to protect the healthcare providers specifically for that. These other masks, they're going to protect anybody who might be asymptomatic with the infection from giving the infection out to them. So in a country like India, again, we would say the CDC has already changed the guidelines in the US as well. And in a country like India, definitely, I think it makes full sense to wear the mask when you're going out.
And thank you, Arpus, for your for your support. We hope to keep doing this. Rashi, let's go back to Rashi's question.
Yeah.
What measures can those people take to save themselves with autoimmune disease?
So Rashi, what are some of you have to take all the precautions that's already been going around, and that is of course social distancing. People who have any autoimmune disease or who have any kind of a disease, like as in especially above the age of 60, the elderly above the age of 60 with high blood pressure, diabetes, uncontrolled asthma, or an autoimmune disease, you have to take extra care because your immune systems are weak. So social distancing, very, very important. Take extra care even while being at home to maintain that 3 feet to 6 feet distance with your family members. You have to be extra careful. Wash your hands regularly. We can't stress it enough.
Yeah.
It's human nature. We touch our face all the time. We don't realize if we touch 100 things and we touch our face. So that is something you have to be extra careful about. Practice, good cough etiquettes, that's really important as well. And, eat healthy. We can't stress enough on eating healthy, having good fruits, vegetables, increasing your vitamin C intake. There's some data to show that helps build your immune system, and be very regular with your medications, and definitely follow up with your doctor. if you have an autoimmune disorder, please go to your doctor, speak to your doctor. If there's any other precaution you have to take, maybe you have to go up on your doses, any blood test you need to get done to ensure that everything is under control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, somebody else has asked the question, are people at depression higher at risk? And that is by Aman Suryavanshi. Aman, that's an important question. Depression is often an underappreciated condition, and I'm glad you're talking about mental illnesses. We've tried to do that a lot on our forum.
Yeah.
But yes, people with depression particularly are not at higher risk, but the fact that there's a lockdown and you're in house, you may have, your symptoms of depression may or may not, they may fluctuate. So it's important that you keep yourself active at home, keep yourself mentally active. Don't let, you have to understand why we're doing this. And that's going to actually help you a lot as far as that is concerned. But you were talking about immunity. I would like to just say something. Now, we are doing now. When you look at this entire thing of COVID, right? If you think of Corona, there are three components to it, right? There is prevention that we're talking about, where we are wearing masks, practicing hand hygiene, and all that stuff, right? So we're practicing hand hygiene. We're doing we are doing all that stuff, wearing masks. So that's for prevention. Then there is a treatment part. And in the treatment part, we are talking about all these new medicines which are trying to do antibodies, and we are trying to see hydroxychloroquine and some antivirals. But there's this whole spectrum in the middle, right? Whole spectrum in the middle. Like, who are the people who get really sick? And that's where immunity comes in. So if you can do things to improve your immunity, you may have a lesser chance of getting sick. And some of the things that you can do to improve your immunity are good sleep,
Yep.
right? Exercise at home, do yoga, whatever it is you need to do, whatever you like to do, yoga, exercise, breathing exercises, they will help improve your immunity. Good sleep, we are on lockdown, at least in India. I heard in South Africa we are on lockdown. Many other countries of the world, we are on social distancing, work from home. So sleep and improve your immunity. And exercise. So some common sense
Of
things.
course, eating healthy.
Eating healthy.
So I think when you follow all these, and in India, of course, they have all this. You get a lot of facty questions from people regarding garlic, ginger.
Yeah.
So again, it may or may not help. There's no data to show that it might help, but that it's going to help you. But if it's not going to harm you, you can eat it in regular amounts. Again, that doesn't mean that you're eating spoonful of, you're taking a spoonful of garlic and just stuffing it.
If you have too much garlic, I'm going to mouth freshener.
So let's take the next question.
Yeah.
That's by Aman.
Aman Suryavanshi. So he's asked a question: why is the disease called COVID-19? So it's called. So the name of the virus is actually SARS-CoV-2. Okay, SARS-CoV-2, that's SARS-CoV-2 is the name of the virus. The SARS stands for SARS, that's for Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome. That's SARS-CoV is the coronavirus, and 2 is the second version of the SARS-CoV-2. And the disease is called COVID-19. That's coronavirus disease in 2019 when it was discovered. So SARS-CoV-2 is the name of the virus. And is the medical name of the virus, and COVID-19 is the name of the disease. So let's be very clear about that.
Next question we have from Payal. What is making some affected people recover from the virus? Well, Payal, first thing first, let's understand. So let's say there are 100 people. 80% of the people are going to get very mild symptoms or no symptoms at all. And what comes in mild? People just might get a very mild fever, some cold, some cough, and most of them don't even have to be tested. If somebody has symptoms like this, they should basically self-isolate and take all the precautions of social distancing, washing their hands, wearing a mask if you have any symptoms at all. Then we come to this 15% which might have moderate disease, so they will be having higher fever, they might have more of a hacking cough, they might have some difficulty breathing, they might require hospitalization. Now that group of people, again, out of them, most of them actually recover well, but they might need more treatment, they might need more medications. That's where, I think the data that's coming out, maybe hydroxychloroquine, azithromycin, that is something the doctor will decide depending on case to case. And then we have that 5%, these critically ill people that might need ventilatory support. And what's seen is that most of these people are the elderly that require that, and they might need, even stronger medications and more supportive care. But the fact is that 95% actually do recover, and we have to remember that. So again, a big chunk of people are actually going to get better.
Get better with the disease.
And the people with the mild ones actually get better, I think, in 5 to 7 days on an average. It's the one with the moderate disease, it might take up to 2 weeks. And one with the severe disease, who are actually maybe on the ventilators, it might take up to 3 to 4 weeks. So it all depends. And that is why, when you look at the data, you see the number of people recovered, that all that data comes, from that it just takes a little longer for some people to get better with this.
Yeah. So I think that's important to know. Thank you very much, Jackie, for your support. I hope everyone over there is learning something. Actually, Rajiv Jain has asked a question before, and his question was, me and my wife are planning to start a family. Should we delay the process? Rajiv, I don't think we have a good answer for that. If you want to start a family, I think now is as good as a time as any other time, right? I mean, we don't know how long this will last. Hopefully, this will not last too long. And when it's time for you to start the family, all this will be behind us. So I think that's important for us to know and remember.
And I think the good news also is I would want to add on that is that we do not actually have data of mother to fetus transmission. So that has not been seen. So that's the good news in this whole thing, that if let us suppose, because a lot of people will spontaneously also get pregnant whether you plan it or not. And so if in case somebody does get pregnant, don't be worried, but just take extra precautions. And when we say extra, just follow the social distancing, hand hygiene. Those are very basic things, but we would be surprised at how many people sometimes just tend to ignore it or just get a little relaxed about it. कि चलो कोई बात नहीं, that's क्या फर्क पड़ता है, एक बारी की बात है, नहीं, actually फर्क पड़ता है. It makes a difference. So that's why just follow this, follow all the precautions as much as you can.
I think that's very important. That's very important. Then there have been a lot of questions, so we probably try and tackle a lot of them together. How do I sanitize vegetables like cauliflower, etc.? We don't have a protective cover. Will soap or any other sanitizer absorb? And Ashita has asked a similar question. How do I sanitize? I think a lot of people are generally concerned about sanitization. How do I sanitize things which come home? We're probably going to make a video about it also very soon. And we will teach you how to sanitize things. But till then, if you have vegetables, if you get anything from the outside, what we do is, when we enter the house, we have a zone where we keep everything. We take, if it's a cardboard box, or if it's packets, then we try and wash those packets either with a sanitizer. We wipe them out nicely, either with a sanitizer or with soap and water. We always do that when we get anything inside. And I have my own routine when I come home from the hospital. When I'm a healthcare worker, I'm still working, I'm taking care of patients. I have my own routine of sanitization, which I will tell later. But as far as things are concerned,
fruits and vegetables, a simple way to do that is just wash it in running water, and that's a general rule that that is used for even patients who are cancer patients and all. When they eat fruits and vegetables, they have to take certain precautions. So the simple rule is wash it in, you don't have to wash it with soap and water, because obviously you don't want to consume the soap. So when you get vegetables home, and if you have vegetables like cauliflower or the bitter gourd like Karela, just scrub it with your hand. Take a cloth or just scrub it, so that means you're just getting all the crevices, you're getting to all the crevices. And for rest of them, if you wash it in running water, or you can take actually a utensil, put water into it and soak your vegetables in that for like 15-20 minutes. I think that will also help get all the
viruses out and everything out.
Yeah.
And when you cook food, when you heat, the virus is very sensitive to heat, ultraviolet. It's very sensitive to alcohol. What it's not sensitive to, which I found interesting, is chlorhexidine. So chlorhexidine is what we use in the hospital sometimes, in some sanitizers. It's not useful for that. That is why alcohol-based sanitizers are important.
Absolutely. And I think one more...
Rajiv has asked another question, which is it true that epidemiologists are predicting that 20 to 60% of the population will get affected? There have been a lot of statistical modeling that have happened. There has been a lot of, a lot of people, a lot of epidemiologists are coming out with their own theories and with what things are going to be. I think we will have to see how the virus reacts. How the entire world gets affected by it. I think that's going to be important for us to see. It may happen that 20% of the world may get affected. It may happen that only 5% of the world gets affected. Right now we're at about 1 million cases. And the world population is 7 billion. So we're pretty far away, 0.01% or 0.001%. But yeah, I mean, let's see how the virus
will
reacts.
Make the timeline as the
virus will make the timeline.
Yeah,
the virus will decide.
Yeah. Ashita has a very interesting question. Does one need to quarantine even after he or she has recovered from the COVID-19 virus? So the rule of thumb is if somebody gets symptoms, you have to quarantine yourself for actually 7 days.
Yeah.
And if you're exposed to someone who might have had the infection, then you quarantine yourself for 14 days. I know it's a little confusing that once you have the symptoms, why do you quarantine yourself for 7 days? But that is, the virus shedding stops by then. And then you're not actually, you can't infect people anymore. But the fact is that if somebody has symptoms, the general rule right now I would say more than the 7 days, just follow the 14 days. For simplicity, let us stick to the 14-day rule. But let us suppose during those 14 days, let us suppose somebody is exposed to someone and now they're in self-quarantine and now they get symptoms, right?
Yeah.
Now, after 5 days, within that 5 days of that self-quarantine, or suddenly you have fever and you have a cold and a cough, you will have to actually add plus 7 days to the whole quarantine.
So basically 14 days if you don't have any symptoms but you have exposure. So you have exposure, no symptoms, 14 days of quarantine. Yeah. If on day number 10 of quarantine you get symptoms, then you add 7 days to those 10 days.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Rashmita has asked a question. In our family we live together. Very good. A lot of people do that. I do that. We do that. Is it necessary to get distance from each other if mother is a medical staff? So we are also medical staff. We appreciate and we understand, Rashmita, what you're saying. We have parents, we talk to them, we meet them every day. The thing is, what do you do for this, right? I mean, this is a question which is asked across the world by medical professionals, like what do you do for this? You don't necessarily have to do social distancing from them, right? You don't have to do social distancing from them, but your family members who are medical staff, when they come home, they should practice good hygiene to reduce or remove any specks of the virus that they may be carrying. Now, if you have symptoms, it's different, but if you don't have symptoms and you're fine and you're just working in the hospital as a nurse, doctor, technician, whatever role you're in, when you come home, have separate clothes. As soon as you enter the house, take off all your clothes, or you go straight into your bathroom, take off all your clothes, put them in a tub full of water and detergent, and just let it be. Take a shower, wash yourself nicely, scrub yourself nicely, and then change into fresh clothes. Sanitize. Good hand hygiene, otherwise will help reduce the spread of infection inside the house also.
And I would definitely also just add a point that, yes, I mean, it's very difficult to maintain, a distance from your loved ones.
Yeah.
But that being said, especially with the elderly, if possible, still try to maybe do less, maybe hugging during this time, especially for healthcare workers. I think less hugs, less kisses. Keep that distance just a little bit, because again, the elderly are just more prone to it. So if somebody is more at a risk, so there's just some precautions as family members that we can take for them to maybe give them less hugs and less kisses for them.
Yeah, exactly. Your parents, your children.
Yeah.
So Arpit has asked, I hear wipes have chemicals on them which you shouldn't touch to your food. That's the first question. Is it so let's just quickly answer that question. Well, you want to answer that?
Yeah, sure. So yes. So when it comes to washing your fruits and vegetables, you have to wash it just with simple plain water, or you can actually use a solution of potassium permanganate.
Yeah.
So that's another solution that you can actually wash your fruits with, and it'll get rid of the virus. But again, there's not much data to show that that's how you will get sick. See, the concern is what are the chances that an infected person touched those fruits and vegetables and then you touch it, you don't wash it? See, the general rule of thumb is we wash our fruits and vegetables when we bring them home.
Yeah.
So again, and this virus is a respiratory, virus. It actually spreads through droplet infection. So there isn't much data to show that it can actually, you can ingest it and get sick with it. So do not use chemicals. I think the chemicals to clean your fruits and vegetables are going to be definitely more harmful. Yes, you can use an alcohol-based sanitizer or a wet wipe to clean the cardboard boxes. If you're getting a box of cereals and you want to just wipe that, leave it for 10 minutes and then you can use that, that's absolutely fine. But definitely, and again, important thing would be once you clean your vegetables, make sure you wash your hands properly and only then you touch them. It should not be that you did the whole process and then after that you didn't realize it and you touched a dirty box and then you touch your vegetables and fruits again.
So we have a, like you said, we have a clean zone and a dirty zone. You get your food, you get whatever you want, keep it in the dirty zone, wash it nicely with whatever you want. If it's solid products, then wash, alcohol wipes or soap and water. If it's fruit, if it's eatables, then definitely with only water and maybe potassium permanganate.
Yeah, this is one more thing that you can.
So I think maybe
I think we'll just take the last question now.
Arpit Rohila said, I should have bought a football before the lockdown. I absolutely hate exercise. Any other fun way to get a workout in? Very important to continue exercising while you're there during the lockdown period, especially. It improves immunity, keeps you mentally sane, helps helps all that good stuff. YouTube is a great resource.
Exactly.
It's free. It's a great resource. Tons of exercises over there, and there are multiple invitations we got for Zoom. So there are all these trainers who are doing live Zoom classes, and I think they might be free. And you can maybe join, ask your friends for one of those classes.
Exactly, and another fun thing to do that some people are doing is, so they're working out together. So I might be here, my friend might be in another place. Now we are kind of through and we're watching a YouTube video together at our respective homes, but we're also on, video chat together and we're working out. So you're kind of working out together. So these are fun things you can do, but you should work out, Do not become couch potato during the lockdown. The last thing you want is you've gained 5 kilos by the end of it and then you're going to be super depressed with it. I think everybody will, and that's something nobody wants. So exercise at home, there are a lot of things you can do, yoga, fun Zumba classes, everything.
There are so many. And then
there are apps nowadays. I think use digital technology. This is the time we appreciate digital technology and come together and try to make use of it. In fact, I think the number of Zoom calls that have happened during the lockdown have probably
Zoom, Skype,
FaceTime. There is house party in the middle. Then rumors came around, but all these different video chat applications are actually bringing people closer all over the world because people are actually chatting with each other more. They might have not met each other for 9 months or 10 months prior to that or even spoken to each other, but now I think people are actually in touch more.
In touch, it's great. It's
great. But I think it's been...
Thank you so much, guys. I think we've answered a lot of... I hope we've answered a lot of your questions. Please do like, subscribe to our page and you'll get a lot of information about healthcare, latest updates. We've got a COVID tracker. We've got tons of things going on. There are a lot of more products which you'll be seeing, a lot of more information you're going to see which is going to come out. I hope you like this. If you have further questions and there are questions we've not answered, then please please put them on our comment section and we will make sure we answer those questions.
And again, stay safe, practice social distancing, do not get frustrated during the lockdown. Keep on washing your hands, and soon, very soon, we will get over this.
This is all going to pass.
This is all going to pass.
All going to pass.
Everything, we definitely will. Take care, guys.
All right,
Take care.
bye.
Bye-bye.